Hey guys! Hey Powerhouse watchers, we're getting our way into Wolfman's second run, where we're going to be watching him speedrun Groove Coaster Wah Party. We have a commentator named Asuka who is going to help us with this run as well, so I'm pretty sure we are all set up and ready to move towards them, so hopefully everything is all good. Ooh.
Okay, hot.
You want me to redo all that? Alright, I guess I'm just redoing all that. Hey guys, hey Powerhouse watchers, we are getting ready to go into Groove Coaster Wah Party for Dancing Dad, and we have a commentator named Asuka who is going to be helping us with this. If you guys want, we are still doing donations incentives, so be on the lookout for that. So I'll leave it off with them. You guys are good to go?
Alright. Now, hi everybody, I'm Asuka424, and if you direct your eyes to the wondrous dancing dad up in the left corner, I think he can do the honors of introducing himself.
Thank you, Asuka. Yeah, I'm Dan's dad, aka wolfman2000, and yes, I am a groover. That's the only reason I'm on this screen. Look, the first title in the game and it's perfect. Anyway, this is really more of a showcase of how it works, but don't worry, we will do some fast songs, but we are gonna warm up properly. This is gonna be an hour or so of just letting loose and having fun, especially after that very unique run that we had, so we're gonna start with something popular. Bad Apple featuring Namiko. You all know the song. And as far as active controls go, we'll explain most of the notes on this next screen and then just start the timer because it's a showcase. We're just here to let loose, have fun, and raise money for Extra Life for the kids. And here are the note types.
Yeah, here we've got 5 different notes. You have your basic note, which is the white hit button. That is pretty much push any button and you're good from either your left or your right Joy-Con. The critical is you have to hit one from each. And I'm already too slow to get the other 3, so we'll let Dance Dad do some awesomeness right now.
Yep, if you haven't started the timer, start it now, please. But most of the rest is going to be obvious once you see them. Basically, there are 6 note types. We're seeing 5 of them already.
5 out of 6 is a warm-up. That's yeah, it's an intense warm-up.
Well, it's only up to a 7 out of 9. Would you like me to explain some of the notes as you're grooving away, Gibson? Go for it. This is a good time.
Alright, so you'll see those purplish pinkish notes with the arrow pointing in different directions. What Dance Dad or Wolfman has to do is move the Joy-Con in the direction that arrow is pointing. Now, you might have noticed that the track that the Groove Coaster is following starts moving around, so it might look like it's pointing left, can turn, and all of a sudden it's pointing down. So whatever angle it's pointing, as soon as you cross over it, that's where you have to go. There's also those solid yellow lines. There's the hold, so whatever button Wolfman pushes, he has to hold it for the entire duration of the note. The last one here is, well, the squiggles, the scratches. It's a green note with all that squiggly lines on there. What Wolfman has to do is he has to shake the controller. It can be either the left or the right Joy-Con, again, for the duration of it.
But the shaking is done in a very particular manner because this game, fun fact, is based off of initially a mobile game, but then became an arcade hit. Asuka is a very good player when it comes to the actual arcade style of gameplay. And let's just go right to Bone Trussell, as you may want to explain the other control scheme.
Sure. So what Wolfman's using is the active motion controls using the Joy-Cons. The way I play, it's officially called the standard controls. Now, this is YY Party, the Switch version, you can use a basic Switch controller, you can use the two Joy-Cons together, or what I actually use is a giant controller, third-party controller that's based off the actual arcade machine. So it literally looks like these two upside-down cups that I control, one in each hand, and a giant button on the top of them. So the way I would play it is I would tap that button for each of those white notes, or the blue double notes, and then if I have to do one of the directional notes, I can move those cups either left or right in whatever direction I need. So an interesting factor with Groove Coaster YY Party is that the active controls and the standard controls, they use different charts. And for those that don't know much about the music genre of games, any type of song, the patterns that are on there, those are our charts. We follow those, we get the good scores, and we continue to rock on and be awesome. So for the standard controls, what I use, it can actually have 4 difficulties. There's one extra difficulty that's not on the active controls, which is Master, and that can go up to a max of 15 in terms of difficulty. And like I said, even the same hard charts on both active and standard are going to look very different. And that's just because there's a lot more that goes into the active controls, and there are some technical things that the Joy-Cons aren't necessarily the best at, which Wolfman does a very good job working around, and I still don't understand how he can do that so well. I've tried.
The last one! Roberto!
Nice.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that happened.
Oh. The dreaded one. Cool.
Sorry, Shane Kills. You know what? I'll just shut up and head to math class. So I do also play in standard controls as well, but I like both, and I'm not the greatest at exercise, despite my moniker as Dance Dad. So, gotta improve it somehow. Oh yeah, why am I hitting notes that are kinda not there?
Oh, so those singular, really faint circles, those are called ad-lib notes. Now, you actually don't need to hit those notes to continue your chain. They're normally hidden unless you have a specific ability called Visible, where you get those little circles. That being said, by hitting those, you have the ability to get things like full chain and be perfect. So there are various degrees of final scores, and there's a lot of it's based on how you hit each note. You get cool, greats being the best. If you hit every single normal note without missing any, but you don't get all of the ad-libs, the best you can do is a no miss. If you get every single note possible, including the ad-lib notes, but you still end up getting at least one good, like Wolfman may or may not have gotten in the last, I won't remind you too much of, you will get what's called the full chain. However, if you're able to hit every single note, including those ad-libs that you don't normally have to hit, if all of them are great, you get a perfect score, and it is, well, therefore called perfect.
Also, fun fact, similar to the arcade version, you can swing one Joy-Con to the left, one Joy-Con to the right, and it still counts.
Or you can be like me and swing one to the left and then hit the left Joy-Con and go, ow.
Also, okay, sorry, I have to adjust you a little bit, Asuka.
No worries.
Alright, so far, grade-wise, we're still doing well. I'm just getting embarrassed. Alright, let's...
3 and 3 out of full chains.
I'll take that.
Fantastically.
Alright, so... we just talked about visible. How does it work when there is no visible?
Well, what happens then is you can still hit the note, but you have to know exactly where it is. There's no penalty for missing it. If you are going for perfect, you have to hit it anyway, but it's just one of those things that you have to learn over time if you want to show off.
Or just pick a song where it's easy.
That's true too. Yeah, a lot of the songs that have the ad-lib notes, it's kind of easy to tell if there is an ad-lib note there. There might be a gap, kind of like right there. That it seems like there should be something there. And for this particular song, Wolfman knows, I'm pretty sure there's an ad-lib there, hits it anyway, gets credit for it, even though he can't see it. Basically, right now, he's showing how awesome he is, and I'm okay with that.
Hey, you're awesome too! Oh, I forgot it went to the 8th note. That's what happens when you miss.
No worries. So,
this game runs on a combo-based scoring chain system, partially. It's... why? I don't fully know. It's like a remnant of old-school rhythm game behavior, where combo is king. Fortunately, it only affects one part, but for grade-wise, it's just... it's annoying.
General rule of thumb, if you lose your combo in the middle of a song, it's not going to be a good score. But what is nice is that score doesn't determine whether or not you pass or fail a song. What does determine that is your groove meter. And as you can tell, Wolfman's groove meter is fully filled out, glowing blue and yellow, and doing fantastically. And I'll wait till the next song to kind of show you how you can tell if you're passing or failing at a given time.
And with this next song, I'm going to skip one of my optional ones and move on to shouting out a friend of mine and another rhythm gamer. Where is it? I should have sorted by pack. There it is. Shoutouts to Sta, who has worked on La Nota and other games. And also, I still have not full comboed this one. I want to fix that.
You got this.
Song for Sprites. Peaceful song, but surprisingly tricky. Especially the beginning. Note how one of the ad-lib notes goes. But we'll get there. It's just a nice, peaceful start, and then it gets intense.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs in here that are deceptively easy at the beginning.
Oh, it's not gonna get easy at this part. I know you're a little behind, Asuka, but this part here, pay attention.
Ooh, yep, I saw that.
Yep, one of the rare times where there are consecutive 16ths. So let's talk a little bit about Joy-Con limitations here. So if I wanted to, you could play with standard controls with Joy-Cons, but it's surprisingly tricky at times because I think there are like some input limitations. So not many songs use that. However, there are a few, including some on the set list, where it's just, the game decides to be mean. Like, right there! And otherwise, I think we're through the worst of it. So if there's any time for a quick donation, this is probably it.
I will say quickly, those floating notes are the bane of my existence.
Same. Also, there's that full chain finally. Ugh, there's a sigh of relief.
Yes.
So, those are the 7s. I believe we're heading to 8s now. This one is always tricky for me for whatever reason.
Same, but it's also one of my favorites. I love the beat to this.
Exactly. Tayutella, why do you have to be so conflicting for me? Also, if you hit notes when there's nothing, you hear those random, like, bunks, depending on the notes, on the sound effect. This is probably a good time to talk about customizations.
Oh, so there's a couple things you can customize in this game, both from a gameplay standpoint and just a graphical visual standpoint. The little android-looking dude that Danstad is using to run the coaster with, that's just what he uses to determine where he has to hit the beat, and there's a whole bunch of different avatars or characters you can use to play the game with. I prefer the butterfly, that's just me, but there's anything from Vocaloid characters to at least some Lunetta characters, even Undertale characters that you can use. It's personal preference. You can also change what the beats sound like. For me, I tend to stick to the standard, always in the arcade sounding rhythm beats. I know, Wolfman, you use pretty much whatever it comes normally with the game, which can be anything from the standard beats to like bongo drums for I think Son of Sun, a couple others, and it's impressive that you're able to like mentally follow the beats to those, because I totally can't.
I actually got that one. I'll take it.
That was nice.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so somehow... fun fact, I was actually supposed to practice this game yesterday, and I couldn't for whatever reason. Maybe I just needed a break. Maybe... Yeah. Maybe it's... Maybe I needed the break for a little bit of happiness. Maybe that's the secret. I don't know. It's not just a shameless plug for the next song, is it?
It might seem like it.
Whatever. Now we actually get to see all the notes, at least at one point, but for those that know this song from their Vocaloid experiences, you know what to pay attention to at the start and throughout. Taito really cares about their background animations, and it shows.
Oh yeah. And actually the start of that coaster, where it's pretty much directly at you, is, in my opinion, one of the hardest ones to do, because you really have to be paying attention to the actual order of what notes are appearing. Like I see, at least I see on my screen now. Once you get into the higher difficulties, the hard and the master, it gets really hard to pay attention and very easy to lose your combo right there.
Fun fact, I played this once, I think a month ago on the Standard Controls Master, and goodness, that part went very fast.
Oh, it does. It's not fun either. I mean, it's fun, but it's not fun.
It's basically at that point. So, fun fact: this Groove Coaster is actually out on different platforms. We will only recommend the Switch and arcade versions because they are actually maintained and high quality. But in most of the games, even in arcade, typically you're expected to play lower difficulties before unlocking the later ones. This game's actually no exception. You can't play Master until you play the hard chart of that same song. And, well, let's just say there's typically a good reason for that.
Yeah, and sometimes every song has a number difficulty in addition to what difficulty level they are. And, there might be a hard song that's, say, 7, and then a master that's maybe like a 9. And there's a lot bigger difference than you realize between that hard 7 master 9. It's like, oh, yeah, this is why you wanted me to try this first.
Yeah, that, and there may or may not be some changes between the difficulties. But for now, So, fun fact, before this stream started, I learned that there was yet another DLC pack. This game is filled with DLC. Let's show off. I thought this was an 8. I had this wrong on my notes. Yeah, alright, you get one more. No, I'm not gonna do this one. We'll save that one for we'll do the other one. So instead, we're gonna move over to... I could have sworn... Oh, right, the other one I was thinking of was... Yeah, whatever, this is a fine one. I'm just gonna have to adjust my song order a little bit. Let's have some fun with spears.
Yeah, the Undertale DLC pack is just filled with bangers. They are all fantastic songs, and they are fantastic charts for those songs, too. But I will mention, in terms of what determines whether you pass or fail, if you look at the Groove Coaster, or the Groove meter at the top, you'll see it's starting off blue, and once that meter gets to about the O in score, it's going to change from blue to yellow. Now, basically, the game doesn't quite matter what you do for the majority of the run. See right there, it's just turning the on my screen to yellow. As long as your groove meter is filled to 70% on the dot at the end of the song, you pass. Now, in higher difficulties, when you miss a note or you do a note poorly, that groove meter will go down. And they'll go down much more significantly than in easier difficulties. So, and it takes a while to build up that groove meter to bring it back to where it was. So, although it doesn't quite matter for the majority of the song, near the end you really need to pay attention to make sure your groove meter is at least 70%. And the number of times anyone that's played Groove Coaster or any rhythm game for that matter and just misses out on the last note, it's a pain we all know and hate.
Oh yeah, the last note nightmare. Popularized in many games, especially in the Bomani series, where most of the games are designed for a pass-fail condition right at the end. Oh, okay. 12 notes with Joy-Cons are not the easiest thing. As you can tell, I'm using the shoulder buttons. You can use the face buttons for those simple hit notes, and I may do so for a later song, but... Again, Joy-Cons, you learn to love them. Or not.
And I've noticed the face buttons, they tend to... Yeah, you don't hit as many notes consistently as you would with the shoulder buttons.
Alright. Here is my requisite DJ Max respect song. Yes, DJ Max also crossed over here, and since I can't do Ray of Illuminati, this is the one that it's going to be. I mean, it's a great song, too. It's just very intense. So prepare to run, folks. I misread the notes. Sometimes you just read too far ahead on the track, and it happens. This is one of my more inconsistent songs, but it's also a very hard one.
Yeah, it's definitely one that it doesn't seem as difficult as it is until you actually get through it. You're like, oh, okay, never mind then.
However, we're actually at ironically, a calm part right now, so if there are any donations, this is probably a good time to read them.
We don't have any donations currently.
Then why don't you talk about the charity?
So, if anybody does not know yet, Powerhouse is sponsoring the charity Extra Life, which helps the kids have the ability to do things that they usually won't be able to do, like play video games and other things for local hospitals. So, if you guys feel like you have any form of ability to support sick children, please donate. We do have donation incentives for exclamation point incentives. Besides that, thank you for watching the stream.
Maybe I appreciate that, thank you. Okay, I think chat needs something a little bit more familiar and mimetic. So, how about some Nora?
The lyrics, chat, are very simple. The bass and kick. And bass and kick.
Don't forget about Let Thee.
Well, the initials lied to me then. The F.
Close enough. It's all good. And you know how I talked about how Taito really cares about their background animations? This animation is basically from the original.
It's just fantastic all around. The number of times I've played the song and missed notes because I was looking at the background, a lot of times.
Yeah, all of us get distracted by them at least once. Which surprises me with the fact, well, now that I can talk without being pressured, I'm surprised I actually have a perfect on this.
Yeah, that is high on the impressive scale, given the background.
Fun fact, I actually got that on another marathon. Which I was shocked by, but at the same time, I couldn't highlight it because it wasn't my run, or not my channel. Also, I've been using my right hand too much. I'll try southpaw a little bit, just have some fun.
As a southpaw herself, I appreciate that.
And yes, you can just one-hand the criticals. There's not only a bumper button, but a trigger button. So, there are multiple ways of playing one-handed, you know, with active controls.
Do you guys have time for a donation?
Now's a good time. I'm surprised I pulled that off.
I am going to butcher this name super bad, so I apologize. Wildrifter?
Wildfire.
Oh! Wildfire donated $50 and said, "Go wolfman2k, grooving for a good cause."
Thank you. Alright. I know folks are missing, you know, the cutesy looks on covers, so this one's for you.
It said it looks so cute, and then it just... and super hard, go! But yeah, you mentioned that you can critical with one hand on active controls. I was literally today years old when I found that out, so thank you for making a couple of my songs a lot easier.
It's not as easy as you think. I've actually tried it beforehand, and for Joy-Con controls, it can be surprisingly tricky. It was not meant to... Asuka and I have helped each other quite a bit with different Groove Coaster techniques, both on standard controls and active, so... Can't ask for much of a better friend than that right now.
Agreed, and ditto. It's like I'm still waiting for my chip to come back so I can start doing standard controls again, but I kind of fried my controller.
Yeah, I look forward to when you get to return to this game.
It's like I've been doing the active controls, and yeah, I'm not anywhere near as good with them as you are. It could be just because I'm used to the arcade version, or at least the arcade controls, switching to the Joy-Cons and being able to consistently hit a lot of those directionals like you do, or the scratches. It's not just a throw it in one direction and call it a day. I remember you explaining how like you have to hold your Joy-Cons a specific way. I don't know if you wanted to go into that in a little bit more detail.
So, I fully admit, when I first tried it, I struggled with it too. It's definitely takes a bit of getting used to. And the biggest struggle area is going to be the critical notes, or the green squigglies, as we often call them. It's possible the next song will cover some of that. I was gonna swap letters anyway, so I'll at least get to see if I took my notes right correctly or not. I did, okay. I don't remember if this one has squigglies, but if it does, I'll try to better explain what's going on. Oh yeah, this has all of them. Okay.
Perfect.
So, Asuka, you've played this game on the arcade before, right?
Way too much for my wallet to be happy with me.
Then, you may want to explain the actual input then.
Well, in terms of at least the arcade controller, the arcade and active controller is similar. You essentially just swing the controller side to side or front to back, however you will. Now, you have to make sure out of all of them, the criticals tend to be the most strict on the endpoints. For the sustained notes, the whole notes, you can get away with holding them for a little bit longer, but those critical squiggles, if you hold it a little bit too late, and you have a note right after that, the game will say, nope, you didn't get credit for that second note. Also, with the criticals, it's also very, very particular about making sure you are squiggling the entire time. So you have to move the controller all the way back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. If you slow down, it might stop the combo. You'll still get credit for the note to begin with, but your combo goes back to 0, and if you want a high score, combo is king. Same thing with the active controls. If Wolfman stops shaking the controller at just the wrong time, it'll stop, or if he slows down, at least for me, if I slow down after a certain point, the game's like, nope, you stop doing it. No more credit for you. So they are in my opinion, the bane note of Groove Coaster's existence, and I glare at whoever created that note.
So, for active controls, I just try to treat it like that, actually. Just treat it like you go back and forth in that same visual space. So I guess as a good example, take the shape of your Xbox controller, wiggle it like this consistently, and you're typically good. You can also go up and down, and there you go. But the key is consistency. You have to go fast enough, and once you go fast enough, you have to maintain that speed.
And that can get really hard for faster songs where your critical notes are a lot smaller. So you might have to panic to try to get one, and then at the same time, you'll lose the combo.
Speaking of... let's revolve around the world. Now this song is fast. And sometimes you worry about going too fast, or maybe not fast enough. You may want to explain the interface on the right.
Sure. So in the upper right, you have the notes, the chains, and then you'll see, well, because it's open, you'll see a lot of greats. You'll see some pulls and maybe some goods. Now, like every rhythm game, the accuracy at which you hit the note is super important, and Groove Coaster Great is the best you can do. If you are a little too early or a little too late, that great becomes a cool, and it'll tell you either whether you were slow or whether you were fast. Same thing with good. If you just miss it entirely, it's a miss, and everyone's sad.
I'm sad.
But with the, and the other thing, like every rhythm game, what's the word I'm looking for? Your inputs, your delay inputs, it's going to be different on pretty much any TV or monitor you play on, so it's not necessarily a game where you can just plug and play. There might be an input delay where it looks like you're on time, but in fact you're not on time, which just adds to everything going haywire as well. So it can get pretty tricky to set things up in a way that you prefer, but once you do, it's just a matter of learning the exact beat. And as you've noticed probably throughout this whole showcase, there's no lines on the coaster that says, okay, this is every single note. No, you just have to know exactly how to hit them the exact time.
Hold on, I'm being told there may be an issue. What? So... Oh, okay, Shane is telling me we're good, Okay, you know what? Just for trolling me. Alright, fine, you folks are gonna have a bad time.
And what comes to worse, I could scream into the mic.
Choose this time now. And from here on, the set list is mostly fixed.
Yeah, real talk, Wolfman's been taking it easy this whole showcase. Now it's pulling out the big guns with probably most beloved song of this franchise, the Megalovania.
It's 9s from here on out. Whoop. And of course, in my hubris, I misread the coaster. Again, it happens. Also, long scratches or squigglies, not the best thing in the world.
It's like when I actually picked up YY Party on standard controls, this was one of the first songs I learned to play on Master, just because it's just such a good song.
By the way, I saw a chat request for a particular song. My apologies, but one, my set list is fixed, and two, even if that was a song option, well, here's the thing. One, we're raising money for Extra Life, and this is a point where we're supposed to let the kids have their say. I can't play certain songs because the audio would be muted, and that would kind of go against the point of this. I do not have enough determination to play everyone's songs. Sorry.
And again, like every rhythm game, you always have to navigate around the dreaded muted audio after you do your stream. So a lot of these songs are carefully picked so that we don't have to deal with that issue once everything is all set and done.
And even some still slip, but so far, marathon-wise, I've gotten lucky.
Yeah, you've picked. Looking at that set list when you first showed it to me, I was impressed that a lot of them were able to go through, and then just it's a solid set list, plain and simple.
All right, so I just talked about the literal newest pack that came in. The previous newest pack has this. And you can tell I'm not well practiced on it, but whatever. Let's groove it lucky. This one is on both of you.
I haven't seen this one yet, so I've been waiting for the marathon.
I'm surprised I'm doing this well, which means I mess it up right then. It's all good.
This is a fantastic chart, though. I'm liking this.
So, when it comes to the DLC packs, 10 songs are available, but only 9 are available initially. You have to play all of them once to get the 10. This is the 10. At least I believe this is the 10th, and if it's not, it should have been.
I think you're correct. I'll double check that.
I still can't believe a new pack came to my knowledge literally before this marathon started. At the very least, we know that this version is being well supported.
Agreed, and that's why, as Wolfman mentioned earlier, if any of the versions, if you want to try out any of the versions, definitely the Switch version is the best one, just with how well supported it is. There is a version on Steam, but unfortunately doesn't have the same level of support that this one has, and I'm not sure about Android, how that one gets supported.
Android should be fine, and Wildfire, the other music permission stuff comes from the other music. And this is a rhythm game, you're allowed to play video games, which means, rip Tony Hawk's new remake coming out, because I have no clue how anyone could play that game with that bass audio.
You and me both on that one.
Which is a shame, because I want to play it. Also, speaking of songs that we don't know how to spell.
Right? Now, when you have different charts, usually they fall into one of two categories. The slightly slower and more complex charts in terms of notes that are provided, and the super fast charts that aren't necessarily filled with difficult notes, but there's just a lot of them in a short amount of time. I personally prefer the super fast charts. How about you, Wolfman? Do you prefer super fast or super complex?
Complex. So the reason for that deals with, well, most rhythm games, especially the ones with column-based setups, have the concept of a speed mod, where you can dictate how quickly notes reach a target. In this case, well, we're the target approaching the note, so it's kind of a reverse. So I don't know if there is an equivalent speed mod thing, but I just use default here.
Actually, there was a comment made in chat from Wildfire about watching on a tiny screen. So, interesting factoid about Groove Coaster on the Switch. It normally is in the standard holding the Switch screen dimensions, but what you can actually do in the options is rotate your screen 90 degrees to effectively make it instead of a 16 by 9, it's a 9 by 16. Actually, the reason they do that is, if you've ever seen the arcade version of Groove Coaster, it is a vertical portrait style monitor in the 9:16 format. So if that might do a trick, or that might be better for you, that's definitely an option. What you see here is effectively a 1-to-1 ratio of the actual screen. When I play it, I usually do the 9:16, but again, I go full on arcade weirdness. I don't know how Wolfman's able to do that well.
I did horribly on that. That was my worst score on that one yet. Which means, I don't know if I am allowed to say a particular H word, but let's just say I'm going to have it now. And you're coming with me.
Oh, okay.
And yes, this game allows for, some songs allow for 2 different audio tracks. I intentionally turned the vocals on for this one.
We definitely got some hex and some heckin' hex in chat, so we have friends joining us.
Thank you. But in all seriousness, I actually like this vocal remix. Even if it is effectively just karaoke style. So, this is a good time for me to shout out Smooth McGroove. Listen to that fella when you get a chance. Because that guy does karaoke for multiple different tracks by himself and makes it sound lovely.
You can tell they're just having a great time with that. I'm here for it.
However, if we do want to avoid, a bad fiery fate, well, hopefully some of you have already done that with donations. Are there any?
There currently is not, so we're going to give one more reminder that Powerhouse is sponsoring Extra Life. So if you guys want to get donations in, we still have donation incentives. We just passed over halfway to our donation goal of 500. We're currently at 285. So let's try to shoot for 500 by the end of Sunday.
GG's on the halfway mark.
Thank you. Yeah, GG's on that. Sorry, I was mishearing it first.
You're fine.
Alright, I may still have to skip one of my songs in the end. Oh my gosh, I completed a mission without trying.
Oh, that's actually something that hasn't really been talked about. Do you want to talk about missions?
This game has a number of built-in missions to help unlock songs and charts and stuff. So, as an example, this song, I believe, was unlocked via mission. And I like this one a lot.
Good song.
But very tricky at the end, especially on the higher levels. And here's the interesting part. It starts slow, and then it doubles its BPM. That's not the hard part. Actually, this part is one of the best parts of the song. So you will get to see something unique. Note that arrow. Did you catch it?
Why, Wolfman, there was an arrow that wasn't directly up, down, left, or right. What's that about?
So, in the arcade version, a number of notes could do that, go in diagonal directions. However, there's kind of a built-in thing you can do to cheese it. If it's a diagonal arrow, you only have to move it in one of those directions. And as also, because this is a Switch game with not the greatest D-pad. Most of the diagonals in the charts that were ported from arcade were converted to cardinal directions, which means I have no clue why a diagonal was added for active controls there.
I have one message to read out for you, Wolfman.
Go for it.
Wildfire says how Wolfman get another perfect, and I stand by my another $50 for a perfect. So if you get a perfect, Wolfman, I'm sorry. If you get a perfect, Wildfire will donate $50.
I'm not expecting it.
I see those songs coming up.
There's only one possible song, and that would be the final one.
That's the one I'm eyeing.
But we'll get to that when we get to. Oh, come on! I'm 113 from an S. Wow. This game hates me.
And this is a prime example of combo is king for those letter grades. You can do incredibly well, but if you lose your combo at the worst time, you really are the miserable.
Exactly. For those that have played this one on La Nota, yes, the thing will happen. But we have to get there first.
It's my favorite part of any chart ever in this game.
Here we go. So admittedly, this is much easier compared to Master, no question. You may want to talk about, difficulty numbers again.
So there's both difficulty numbers and difficulty levels. There's like an easy, a medium, and a hard. Hard being the highest difficulty level on active controls. On standard controls, there's a fourth difficulty, like I mentioned, and that is the master difficulty. That's where the book of easy charts is thrown out the window, and any little trick that the game can pull out of its sleeve and make you work for that high score, that combo, it does. Now, there's also number difficulties, so you can see roughly your difficulty level.
Also, thing.
Oh, yep, this is the thing. This is the awesomest part of any chart whatsoever. This spiral, you know what you're about to have fun with. Good luck! And it's just a cool part of the song, too, honestly.
Yep. So, funny enough, I actually have to thank Cent from GDQ for explaining difficulties pretty well, in that as the numbers go up, they actually go up in a matter of magnitude, typically. Whereas each difficulty level goes up by some particular amount. Whether it's 2 times, 10 times. And 9s on active and standard controls are mostly equivalent. Lack of motion controls working aside. Come on, Joy-Con.
I believe that. I actually believe that.
Yeah, that skill gate is mostly affected on other rhythm games with narrower windows such as Beatmania 2DX. Alright, I'm getting a little stressed out. We have to let loose. Let's party.
And if you recognize the riff from this song, you may or may not be right. Just, we'll leave it at that.
While it's still calm, this is another chart that will have 16ths for me to work with. It's one reason why I still haven't full chained this one. I'm gonna actually try swapping the buttons for this.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and 16 slides. Ooh.
Yeah, this is one of those parts that definitely puts the active controls into a much harder category than standard.
So, sorry folks, we're not gonna get that 1000 combo. Never understood why 1000 was a big number for this song, though. Alright. 3 songs left, and I have to be honest with you, Asuka. Considering that I'm not doing as well as I would like to believe, I'm torn. I thought the higher paced energy song would work for me.
Yeah, like you, I'm torn on that too. I mean, would you say it's maybe a little bit of a conflict that you're dealing with?
Yep, let's sort it out. This song is popular in a lot of rhythm games. Which ironically forces me to shout out the video game Pump It Up in not the best way, because for that game's hardest levels, what they did with this chart, it's an entire 16th run. And I don't know why.
Someone was having a really bad day.
The probable answer is every rhythm game has different skill sets and tests different things. Rhythm games like Pump It Up sometimes like to just test, physical endurance, whether it goes well with the song. Some games like to just go with the song and try to follow every single note. They all have their niches and reasons. Also, I misread that note. Oh.
Yeah, the times I've mistaken a squiggle with a sustain is quite frequently.
And now the fun part. And then the repetitive part.
Yeah, I will say anytime the chart turns like that when there's directionals, it always gets me scared. So I'm always afraid that the directionals are going to change by the time I get to them.
And then some more notes that just appear on the coaster out of nowhere, because why not? Alright.
I will say, I have nerves.
I don't know if we're allowed to share URLs on this chat, but prepare the lyrics if you know them. This is our penultimate song. I'm gonna actually hydrate before this one. There is a reason why in both active controls and standard controls, Asuka and I have struggled with this song for a bit.
And I will be sure to stay quiet, at least for the second half of this song.
Also, Shane, wrong brain power. It's not Freeze Pop, it's Noma. Trust me on this one.
Before Wolfman starts, I will mention there will be a very loud beep. That is not the audio going crazy. That is a censored part of the song.
Yep. And by the way, if we do have donations that come after the beep, no reading them. Asuka, you can chat all you want, but in general, I'm gonna stay quiet for that part. So why do Asuka and I dread this part? This song? Right now it's not too bad.
Yeah, the beginning is incredibly easy. Well, relatively. It's just the second part.
Yep.
Essentially, as soon as you let the bass kick, from then on out, it's a nightmare, and it earns its number ranking.
Alright. I have been beeped. I'm gonna stay quiet. Asuka, rest is yours.
So again, it is slowly building up to the fun part, or the dreaded part, which is coming up very soon. But first, you see some lyrics going on in there. The best part of the song, the oohs, the e's, the ahs, the a's, and the u's, and the dreaded part. This is pretty much non-stop from here on out for the song, and it just gets harder as it progresses. Let Wolfman end this on his own. Very nice.
That is why I use buttons for that particular song. When you use the Joy-Con buttons, you can actually interact with different ones each time, and thus I find that slightly easier. Also, new record on that? One miss? Dang.
Jeez.
Alright. I know we're slightly over time, but we still have to take care of a final party. Shoutouts to Shinji16, a 2DX player. We thank you all for joining us, but keep on donating, keep on doing it for the kids, folks. This is our goodbye. Asuka, host?
Yes.
I leave it to you two.
Now, like the backgrounds for a lot of the songs here, Taito does a really good job with them, and the fact that they were able to combine Undertale's ending of sorts with a fun Taito background is something that I just really love, especially the let their words turning into yellow. It's for those that have played Undertale, you know what's going on here. All in all, it's a pretty chill song. It does have a little bit of difficulty at the end when it slows down from what it is currently to pretty much a crawl. So the last note or two, I know for me they're pretty easy to miss because you might want to rush them, but I know Wolfman, he will rock this to the very end. But otherwise, I hope everybody in chat has been enjoying this Groove Coaster YY Party Active Control Showcase. Remember, the YY Party version is the Nintendo Switch version. That is also on Android and then PC, though we do recommend either Android or Switch. There's a great list of songs that you can play in all difficulty levels. There's fantastic DLC packs that are, again, 10 songs per pack, so you're definitely getting your money's worth, in addition to avatars and other icons and titles, like Wolfman's Groover, and mine is Magician currently. But all in all, it's great fun. There are fantastic rhythm game and even Groove Coaster Taito game communities out there. Check out the Discords. It's been an honor to be asked as the commentator for Wolfman's run of this, so I appreciate that, and GG's to Wolfman as he ends his fantastic showcase.
That is time. So, now the fun part, figuring out how much money I owe. Because, again, I played 2 games, and my normal scoring mechanism is not going to work in this case. Let's see, 8 meteors, 4 S++s, 7 S++s, 5 S's, 4 A's. $50 so once we go to intermission, I guess? Sounds about right.
Nice. And it is for a fantastic cause with Extra Life.
Indeed. Asuka, once again, thank you so much, my good friend, for joining me on this one. It was an honor and a pleasure to work with you on this.
Pleasure was all mine, Wolfman.
But otherwise, I'm not going to say what's next because I'm not going to take the host responsibility away again. But until then, keep on grooving, all stay safe, and keep helping the kids.
Alright, so we're going to be moving into next runner. It is Diamond Crafter A, and he's going to be running New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So whenever that happens, we will be going into intermission.